The mission of Jesus was unmistakable: to preach the gospel to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, to set free those who are oppressed. This is the reality of the gospel we preach. But the reality of our communities still reflects a generation who lives in poverty and struggles in broken relationships, who remains captive to addiction and oppressed by those who don't understand them. Imagine if those who are struggling experienced the true freedom that only comes from Christ. If their road to recovery didn't stop at the end of a program, but continued on through the local church body. If they weren't handed a temporary solution, but were shown the path to lasting recovery. Imagine if Jesus' mission came alive in our communities.
We can no longer ignore the epidemic of drugs in our society today. But be warned, addiction is complicated. It takes a long-term sustained commitment to see lasting results. From one who has done it all my life, the results will come because the gospel works whenever or wherever or whoever it's proclaimed to.
When we bring residential recovery programs and church community together, lasting recovery is made possible for those struggling with addiction and life-controlling issues.
I used to say that my brother and I had two callings to New York City. One was to raise up the ministry of Teen Challenge, and then to start Times Square Church. At first, I thought of it as two different callings, and now I realize it's one and the same calling. Para-church ministries can produce para-Christians unless they are connected to the local church. So to me, the local church was vital in what we did. The addictive society need to be not just in recovery, they need to be recovered. The work needs to be completed in their heart. And so the local church is where the recovered take place. In the 65 years that I've been privileged to be a part of my brother's calling to Raise Up Teen Challenge, I have only recently seen a place that really mirrors what needs to take place to minister to this generation. I believe Freedom City is onto something.
With God's help, our vision is to help thousands of people find lasting recovery by replicating the Freedom City movement across the nation. Here's our vision. The first step is to strengthen the Freedom City movement model, from recovery support services to the Freedom City campus in Springfield. Next, we'll take the Freedom City movement model to other urban centers, teaching them the integrated approach of recovery and community. Then, we'll watch God transform communities across the country as people discover true freedom and experience a lasting recovery.
It's not just getting somebody off their addictions, but setting them up for future success.
I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without the encouragement and support and guidance and wisdom that they've poured into my life.
John's work is an incredible pillar, particularly here on the north side of Springfield. He has a good vision, not only for this community, but to expand that out to the state and the nation.
I see our city being transformed as one by one, we can transform an individual who's been involved in drug addiction and see them come to be on their feet again. I just believe this model could replicate all over the country in high-need areas of cities.
This movement has begun in Springfield, Missouri, and will spread to communities all across the country. And when it does, the mission of Jesus will be fully alive. The gospel will be preached to the poor. The brokenhearted will experience healing. Captives will find liberty, and the oppressed will be set free.
A thriving community begins with freedom from addiction. Transformation begins and sparks in the individual, but it only lasts in the community. join the Freedom City movement to spread this model and this message throughout this country. I believe in it. It's God's time.